I took these pictures in 2022 in October. It was fall, and it's of another wonderful house slash museum called the Eustis Estate Museum. And this is located in Milton, Massachusetts. It's built on about 80 acres of land, or it occupies about 80 acres of land, and it was built in the late 1800s. It was a beautiful day that I went there. I thought I'd start with the outside pictures. This house was revolutionary for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is it had electricity. There was a turbine on the property, and it had its own water supply. That's just two of the things that made it special. Number of fireplaces. Just from the outside pictures, you can see a bunch of fireplaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this angle. Bunch of fireplaces. Now, the weird thing about it was they said it only had one toilet for the entire property. One toilet. Imagine how a house as big as this with one toilet, but you know. And a lot of wonderful things I liked about the house, not just the design and the grandeur of it, but just how relaxing it is to walk the property. I can imagine back then it must have been an awesome thing to go home in the evening and maybe not even leave the house if you can get everything right there. All right, so that's looking from one angle at one of the balconies that you can step out on. Now, of course, it must have been maintained throughout the years, but it's still in great shape. A lot of additions on here, like this light and so on, but it's still in wonderful shape. All right, continuing. This was my kid taking pictures also. This was earlier in my photography career, maybe a year or so after I started trying to take pictures seriously. Not an excuse for what I believe is poor quality pictures, but I didn't put much thought into composition. I just thought, this is a good picture, let me take it. All right, in any case, this one's not too bad. So in the background here, you can see the other walkway. This is the driveway. So if you're coming up from the main road, so this will be the study center here. You're coming up from the main road, Canton Avenue. You drive by the study center, which at the time was not a part of the tour. And this is the house here. So that little archway is looking out this way. Looking out this way. Looking out this way. Inside the house, they have all kinds of wonderful pieces of decor and so on. And it's said that some of the people who designed these pieces secretly, or maybe in a not so secret way, but they wrote their signatures or information in some inconspicuous parts of the items that they created. I didn't get a picture of it. I learned this afterwards. All right, this is one of the fireplaces. I think I used too much of ISO for this one, but let me just take a look. Yeah, 6,400. This was the A60. What's this? A6600. All right, so I could have done better. 1/200 of a second. F4. Maybe open up the aperture a little bit more. 18 to 105. No, I could not have. All right, it's okay. All right, so it's a little grainy, but this is the fireplace. Now, I don't believe everything seen in this photo is from that era. Regardless, this is just excellent craftsmanship. Excellent craftsmanship, which you can't really appreciate because of the poor quality of this picture. But from this distance, you can still see the detail here. Another one of the fireplaces that was there. I don't think this peacock was a part of the whole thing, but as you'll see from this and another image of a fish, the owner of the house was an avid hunter and fisherman. And that's just another angle of this area. So looking at this little sitting area here, looking out through the window. Wish I'd used an ND filter so the sky was not blown out or the window was not blown out here. And this, I think, if I remember correctly, this is an original piece from when the house was built. And I think I remember a story from the guide that one of the maids or somebody would sit here with the kids, and I think there was a picture of the kids sitting with someone here for a photo shoot. because the owner of the house was also an amateur photographer. There were a bunch of exhibits in the house at the time, and which I think was interesting. And they told a story quite often about the era and the people's thinking while they were living in the house. A bunch of exhibits. So like this particular one, I had a hunch during the war when these young fellas were walking in, ordering them aloud, naked and in three colors, that there would come a day of reckoning. I wasn't quite sure what this was about, but somebody who's quite astute maybe would be able to pick that out. You can also go on the website and look at the different exhibitions that they have. That's the website there. It's a bunch of exhibitions at the Eustis house. I didn't take a picture of everything because I still think I wanted to just enjoy some things too with my naked eye and not snap 5,000 pictures. And if you're in the area, you should still check it out. All right, and this was a zoomed in picture. I thought this little character was interesting. I couldn't tell if it was makeup or this is how the person actually was. Not quite sure, but I thought it was interesting. And just a random fish on the wall. I think it was to imply that this was some kind of trophy room or something. And that's just a zoomed out picture of that area. And I think the chandelier is from that time, from the 1800s. Not too sure about the light bulb, but the chandelier is, and it had electricity, like I said before. All right, so it did have water also. Running water. I don't think this pipe is modern. Is from the era. I think this pipe is modern, and it had some of the original pieces that on the front of the counter, such as this. Looks like this is copper, I think, and all these handles. They look like they were original pieces. We weren't allowed to go into every part of the house, so you could still see it. So I kind of zoomed in and looked at this area with the camera. This was taken at 93 millimeters, so pretty much zoomed in from some distance outside of the room. All right, and this is in one of the kitchens. And on the wall in one of these kitchens was a telecom system, which was pretty common for a lot of the houses of the Gilded Age, where the kitchen staff or the maid staff could phone up or receive messages from the occupants of the house for food, or when food is ready, that kind of thing. I think that's pretty cool. If I remember correctly, this was actually a telephone room where the occupants could come down and make a phone call. This phone obviously was not from the era, even though it's pretty old, but it's not from the era. The house also had an elevator, and it's if you remember the picture, it's pretty big. So it makes sense that they had some kind of elevator system here, so you could get in and go upstairs, kind of thing. All right, and this is looking out from the other side I showed you. So this is the winding road, and there's still a lot of acreage this way and that way that you can enjoy. Just a beautiful day. Look at that gorgeous day. All right, this is looking out on one of the little walkways, not walkways, like a porch on the side of the house, same angle. As you can see, no thought put into composition at all. It's not even straight. Too much of the floor, and it's not even clear what the point of this photograph was and what was the subject. So maybe could have zoomed in like that. Maybe one person could have been sitting here. Maybe. In any case, it is what it is. All right, and this is looking out. That's a study center down here, and the main road is down here. So looking out over the lawn. So this could be a beautiful way to spend your evening or morning, for that matter. Right, just sitting on the little porch area, looking out over the vast expanse of your property. And that's a zoomed in picture of the study center from this porch area. All right. I always liked houses that have plants growing on the side of the house. I always thought they were cool. And this had a lot of plants growing on the side of the house. I think that was pretty cool. So I was taking a picture of this area here, right here. And here's another picture that it shows the house. Fortunately, because the house is pretty, the picture is not complete garbage. However, the composition is. Regardless, it just shows a little bit more of the grandeur of the construction. Another balcony here. So there are multiple balconies on this house. There's one here, and then going forward to this one, you can see another one on the other side of the house. And this is looking, so instead of looking out from the house through the archway down this path, this one is looking from under the street towards the archway. So this side gets shade and this side does not. This side gets shade and the other side is not shaded. It's well lit from the sun on this side. And this was late evening, so the sun looks like it's setting on that side. So this might be east. Over here might be east and that might be west. I think that makes sense. And so it looks like, okay, so the side that wouldn't get as much sun would be behind this tree. Regardless, this looks really pretty. And this tree looks like, I think they said it was from that era. This big tree right here was from the era, which is pretty cool that it survived this long. I think they had honey on the property too, if I remember correctly. At least at that time when I went, they talked about honey. I'm not sure if they had honey back then. I think this was a pump station, not sure, but there are a couple other buildings scattered on the property. And there's a lot of story. You could go here and spend a whole day and still not learn all that there is to learn about the house. It's fantastic. And I only took a few pictures. Well, I think a few pictures. I didn't take a picture of everything. And there was still so much to learn, so many stories. All right, so this looks, it might be obvious to some, maybe not, but this is a tiny, tiny doll house. And someone said it was a gift or something like that, but there is a story here with this dollhouse also. It's very, very small. You can see a tiny pine tree or pine cone that's growing next to it. And just a few more pictures. Okay, I think this was where the turbine was, I think, and where the electricity was generated. But even this, look how interesting this roof structure is. Oh, it's curved in the front. I don't think the roof has survived all this time. I don't think so. But at least the general design has persisted. Just some random close-up shots I've taken. All right, so if you're in the area, check this museum out, and you could buy. I might have mentioned this before. I'm not in another video. I'm not sure. You could buy a pass for the whole year and visit all the properties of the historic New England, and you would not be disappointed. Wonderful way to spend a nice Christmas or holiday evening, or just a Sunday evening walking the grounds having some ice cream or something. Really, really cool. All right, take it easy.